In section 10.4, we'll be looking at applications of linear equations. The steps for solving application problems are to read the problem several times until you understand what is given and what is to be found. Now when you're reading, when you figure out what is to be found, that's what you're going to label as your variable. And then make sure you understand what is given, and that's going to be part of your equation. Step 2 is to assign a variable to represent the unknown value. So that's what you're trying to find. Using diagrams or tables as needed. Write down what the variable represents. Express any other unknown values in terms of the variable. Step 3, write an equation using the variable expression. So that's where you're going to use what you needed to find along with what was given. Then solve the equation. Step 5, state your answer, make sure it's reasonable, and then step 6, check your answer using the words of the original problem. In example 1 on page 708, we're going to give the equation using x as the variable and then find the answer. So if 5 is added to the product of 9 and a number, so added to, remember, is one of those where we switch the order, so it was going to be something plus 5. The product of 9 and a number means 9 times the number x. The result is, that's your equal sign, 19 less than is another one of the keywords that switches. So something minus 19, then the number. So we're going to label the number x. Alright, so remember our phrases that switch the order are added to, subtracted from, more than, less than. Alright, so the product of 9 and a number, so that was my 9x, added to 5. 5 added to that, so plus 5. The result is, that's my equal sign, and then 19 less than the number means x minus 19 less than that. Alright, so now we can solve. We will eliminate x from one side, so subtract x from both sides of the equation. So 9x minus 1x is 8x. Bring everything else down. Then get the 8x by itself, so subtract 5. And then negative 19 minus 5. They're both negatives, so we'll add them together. Is negative 24. And then that's 8 times x, so dividing by 8 gives me x equals negative 3. Okay, example 2. In the 2006 Winter Olympics in Torino, Italy, Canada won 5 more medals than Norway. So, more than. The two countries won a total of 43 medals. How many medals did each country win? So, we need to list what our variable is. So let's say that I label my variable n for the number of medals that Norway won. So Canada won 5 more medals than Norway. So Canada is going to be Norway plus 5. The two countries won a total of 43 medals, so that means that I have Canada plus Norway equals 43 medals. But I can't have two variables because then I can't solve for anything. So if I take what I have here, Canada is Norway plus 5, then it's going to be Norway plus 5 plus Norway equals 43. So then solving, I can combine like terms. So n plus n is 2n plus 5 equals 43. Then I can subtract 5 from both sides. So I get 2n equals 38. Divide by 2. So n equals 19. Well, we want each country. So if Norway won 19 medals, and we know that they both won a total of 43. So then 43 minus 19 is 24. So Canada won 24 medals. Example 3. At a meeting of the local coin club, each member brought 2 non-members. If a total of 27 people attended, how many were members and how many were non-members? Okay, so we have X members, and we have double that number of non-members. And there's 27 people that attended total. So my equation would be x plus 2x equals 27. So 1x plus 2x is 3x. Divide by 3. So x equals 9. So you have to go back to what x represents. X represents the number of members. So that means there's 9 members. And there's twice as many non-members. There's 2x non-members. So there's 18 non-members. On page 711, example 4, a piece of pipe is 50 inches long. It is cut into 3 pieces. The longest piece is 10 inches longer than the middle-sized piece, and the shortest piece measures 5 inches less than the middle-sized piece. Find the lengths of the 3 pieces. So I'm going to draw a diagram. So I have a short piece, kind of a medium piece, and a longer piece. So the whole pipe is a total of 50 inches. The longest piece is 10 inches longer than the middle-sized piece. So when it says longer than the middle-sized piece, since I don't know the middle-sized piece, that's my x. So my longest piece is 10 inches longer than that, so that's going to be x plus 10. The shortest piece measures 5 inches less than the middle piece. So notice again, less than the middle-sized piece. It's referencing the middle-sized piece. So whatever it references, that's what you're going to label with your variable. So that one's 5 inches less, so x minus 5. And then all 3 of them together add to 50 inches. So x minus 5 plus x plus 10 equals 50. So remember, every time you see an x, that's the same thing as a 1x. So combining like terms, 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. And then negative 5x plus 10. Negative 5 plus 10 is the same thing as 10 minus 5, which is plus 5 equals 50. And now we can solve it. So subtract 5 from both sides. 3x equals 45. Divide by 3. X equals 15. Okay, but 15 is not going to give me all of the pieces. It's just going to give me the one that represents x. So looking back at your diagram, x is the middle piece. So we have short, middle, and long. So my middle piece is 15 inches. That means my shortest piece is 15 minus 5, 10 inches. And my longest piece is 15 plus 10, 25 inches. Okay, this slide gives us some geometry vocabulary that we'll be using. So this first picture, angles 1 and angles 2 are complementary. They form a right angle indicated by the little kind of square symbol. So that means a right angle is 90 degrees. So any two angle measurements that add to 90 are complementary. So remember, complementary, 90. Two angles are supplementary if they form a straight angle. So notice that the two angles together form this straight line. So angles 3 and 4 are supplementary. And supplementary angles, they form a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. Okay, so a straight angle is just the same thing as a straight line as 180 degrees. So complementary, they add to 90. Supplementary adds to 180. And so you can kind of remember alphabetical order, C comes first, then S. So 90, then 180. The one that comes first in the alphabet is the smaller angle measurement, 90. The one that comes later in the alphabet is the bigger angle measurement, 180. Okay, so if we are looking for the measure of an angle, we'll label that angle X. Complement means that they add to 90, so if this angle is X, to find the other angle, you subtract that from 90. Same thing with supplementary. If you know X, to find the other angle, you subtract it from 180. So when you see these types of problems, you need to remember 90 minus X represents the degree of the measure of a complement, and 180 minus X represents the degree measure of a supplement of an angle. Okay, so we'll apply those definitions to example 5. Fill in the blank below the figure, then find the complement of an angle that measures 26 degrees. So X plus 26 equals, so if we look at the picture, they form a right angle. So X plus 26 is equal to 90 degrees. Then if I wanted to find X, if I know that this is 26, to find the rest of it, I would subtract 90 minus 26, which is 64 degrees. So X equals 64. And that would be solved by negative 26 minus 26. X equals 64. Okay, example B, we're finding the supplement of an angle that measures 92 degrees. So notice that these two angles form a straight line. So X plus 92 equals 180 degrees. And then to find X, I'll subtract 92. So 180 minus 92 is 88 degrees. Example 6. Find the measure of an angle whose complement is 8 times its measure. So I'm going to draw a picture for this to represent two angles that are complementary. So if this is X, the complement is 8 times its measure, so 8 times x. So that means that x plus 8 times x is equal to 90. Simplify, so this is the same thing as 1x, so 1x plus 8x is 9x. Then that's 9 times x, so I can divide by 9. And I get x equals 10. So if x is 10, then 8x is 80, which is 8 times its measure, and 10 plus 80 is 90. So I just kind of went back in to check it and make sure that the answer I got made sense with the problem that they gave me. Find the measure of an angle such that twice its complement is 30 less than its supplement. Okay, so twice its complement. Remember when we see the word complement, that means 90 minus x tells me equals, and twice means times 2. So twice its complement is 30 degrees less than, so less than switches, so it's going to be something minus 30. Its supplement, and supplement was 180 minus x. Okay, so that's going to be twice the complement is 180 minus x, 30 less than that, so minus 30. Right, so to simplify, we'll clear the parentheses first, so 180 minus 2x equals, I can combine like terms, so 180 minus 30, 150 minus x. Now I can add x to both sides. That's the same thing as 1x. So 180, negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1x equals 150. Subtract 180. Negative 1x equals negative 30. Divide by negative 1. X equals positive 30. So once you can set up the problem, then we're just solving it the way we did in the previous section. It's just being able to read it and set up the equation based on the phrases. Okay, another type of problem is using consecutive integers. Consecutive means in order, one right after the other. So consecutive integers would be like 5, 6, 7, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. So any numbers that are in order. So we let x equal the lesser integer, the smallest integer in the set, and then for any two consecutive integers we have x and then x plus 1, because it's always going to be just one more. If they ask for consecutive even integers, well, an even number is every two numbers, so it would be x and then x plus 2. Odd integers are also every two numbers, it's every other number, so that is also going to be x and x plus 2. So remember, if they're even or odd, it's still x plus 2. If it's consecutive, meaning every single one, then you just add 1 to get the next one. Alright, so here's an example. Two back-to-back page numbers in this book have a sum of 569. What are the page numbers? So we're going to let x be the smaller page number, and then x plus 1 be the next page number. And it says they have a sum of 569, which means we're adding them together to equal 569. Alright, so x plus 1. So remember the x's have 1's in front of them. So 1x plus 1x is 2x plus 1 equals 569. Subtract 1 from both sides. 568. Divide by 2. So x is 284. Well, remember I want two page numbers. There's two back-to-back page numbers. So if 284 is the smaller page number, then the next page number would be 285. Okay, and our last example for this section, find two consecutive even integers. So when they're even integers, remember you're going to have x and x plus 2, because you don't want the very next one, you want every other one, such that 6 times the lesser, so that's going to be 6 times x added to the greater, so the greater is x plus 2, gives a sum of 86. Alright, so 6 times the lesser added to the greater, which means I'm going to take the greater plus add 6x to it, gives a sum of 86. So again, this has a 1 in front of the x, so 1x plus 6x is 7x. Bring down my plus 2 equals 86. Subtract 2. 7x equals 84. Divide by 7. X equals 12. And again, I want both of the integers, so if 12 is the smaller one, then the next even integer is 2 more than that, which is 14.